Hello friends, Kritika here, your favorite dietitian, and here are 10 things I don't do as a dietitian. We'll start now. Number one, I do not drink regular sugary sodas, like sodas that actually have sugar in them, like Pepsi, Coke, 7-Up, Dr. Pepper. I don't drink them because one, they taste too sweet for me, and number two, terrible for the teeth, and also a lot of liquid sugar that doesn't fill me up and it makes me feel like shit. Instead, I drink Zevia if I'm ever feeling like drinking a soda, and occasionally I'll have a Diet Coke. And you might be wondering,
isn't Diet Coke bad for you? Like that aspartame and Splenda, that's terrible for you. These fake sugars are terrible for us.
no, my friends, no. We are so misinformed when it comes to nutrition and research and science. We think that anything chemical or artificial must be terrible for our health. The research and the science is pretty clear that artificial sweeteners are not bad for us in moderation. And I explain exactly why and all of the research in an unbiased way in this playlist here that you can check out. I have a bunch of videos on stevia and Splenda and aspartame, just showing you what the research says. But don't get me wrong, my friends, that does not mean that I don't enjoy some empty calories every now and then. I do love me a craft beer, as you may have noticed in my New York vlog, which I will link up here. But that leads me into number two. Number two, I do not eat perfectly all the time.
Even though I'm a dietitian, it's crazy. It's so crazy, right? It's crazy.
But I think a lot of people have this misconception that dietitians eat healthy all the time. No, honey, no. I try to have balance in my life. I don't really have balance when it comes to like the physical thing, maybe a little bit, but sometimes I enjoy Oreos just because they taste good, okay? Sometimes I overeat, okay, because the food tasted really good, okay? Sometimes I eat ramen for dinner. It happens because I'm a human. Being healthy is not about being perfect. But I think you're also really gonna like number 6. So keep watching for that, and let's move on to number 3. Number 3, I don't buy organic and non-GMO. I know this is crazy. I know this is crazy to some of you guys because
Don't you think GMOs are terrible for us? They're ruining our health.
Honey, no.
I actually have a whole video on GMOs that you can check out. I will link it up here. But as far as organic, just because something's organic doesn't mean it has more vitamins and minerals in it. And research has shown this. The whole dirty dozen situation is kind of a gimmick. And don't just take my word for it. Know that there are multiple research articles actually investigating the EWG and how their methodology to classify the dirty dozen or the clean 15 lacks scientific credibility. Now, when it comes to meat or dairy, it actually might be better to buy organic in that situation. But when it comes to produce, we do not need to be worrying about pesticide residue on produce, especially if we are washing our produce well. And 80% of the pesticide residue can be eliminated if you scrub your produce a little bit. Just get a little vegetable brush. You don't even need those fancy vegetable waters. In fact, those don't really do anything. So instead, I focus on buying fruits and vegetables that are in season. And right now, blackberries are in season and they are amazing. Number 4, I do not take a shit ton of vitamins and minerals and supplements.
Why? Isn't supplements healthy for you? The more the better.
Well, my friends, more is not better when it comes to supplements. And if you've been following me for a while, you already know I say this in every video, or I feel like I've been saying it in a lot of videos lately, but some supplements can be toxic in high doses. Even something as seemingly harmless as vitamin C can cause kidney stones when we take too much of it. Now, this doesn't happen if we get it from food, but when it comes to supplements, more is not better. There's a time and place for supplements, don't get me wrong, but I prefer to get most of my vitamins and minerals from food and then take a supplement if my diet is lacking. And because I'm vegan, there are some very specific supplements that I do take. And if you want to find out exactly what I take and why, you can check out this video right here. Number 5, I do not count calories. Now, I think there's a time and place. I'm not against counting calories, and I'm not against other people counting calories. I think it can be really an important awareness exercise, actually, to count your calories using MyFitnessPal or something, but only for a limited amount of time. I don't believe that tracking your calories and tracking every single little thing that you put in your mouth is a healthy thing to do long term. But as a dietitian, I see clients one-on-one, and I will often ask them to do a 7-day food log before we actually start sessions, just so they can understand and I can understand what their baseline is, how they're eating right now, and notice certain patterns in how often they're getting hungry. What are their portions really like? Is the food that they're eating actually filling them up? Are they eating enough protein? Are they getting enough vitamin D? And so much more, because there's so much you can learn from tracking your food. And even though I do not track calories at the moment, that is not to say that I haven't done it in the past. I have tracked my calories when the pandemic first started because, like a lot of you guys, I had gained a little bit of weight and I wanted to see how much I was eating, because obviously either I was exercising less or I was eating more, causing the weight gain. So tracking my calories at that time was a good way to figure it out and bring some awareness to what I was doing. I think what's more important than tracking calories your entire life is learning to listen to your body. I think it's really important to learn about your hunger levels. And this is actually something that I help my clients with one-on-one. If you need guidance for that, I am taking clients at the moment. My website is still under construction, but follow me on Instagram and connect with me there if you're interested. Number 6, I don't punish myself for eating unhealthy by restricting myself the next day or trying to make up for it the next day with more exercise. Because number 1, that is
Toxic AF.
And number 2, it's counterintuitive. Think about it. If you had a binge or if you ate a lot more than you wanted to one day, and then you say, okay, tomorrow I'm not gonna eat breakfast, or I'm gonna eat a lot less tomorrow to make up for that binge. You ignore your hunger, you ignore your cravings, and then guess what happens? You go right back to binging again, whether it's that night or the next day or the next day, because your hunger and your body will always win. It will always catch up to you, because hunger is a natural thing. It's like the urge to pee. If we feel like we need to go to the bathroom,
oh no, like I can't go to the bathroom, I need to hold it and I'm just not gonna go.
Well, what happens eventually? You either pee your pants or you go to the bathroom, right? The same thing happens with hunger. There's only so much that you can suppress it and prevent it until you give in. And if you are suppressing it and preventing it so hard, the next time you give in, it's gonna be on all the foods that you are trying to restrict. So if I ate more than I wanted to one day, what I do the next day is forgive myself and listen to my body. And perhaps, if I had overdone it one day, the next day I'm naturally not gonna be very hungry, but I'm going to listen to that. And punishing myself or being hard on myself the next day is not gonna make me want to eat healthier long term. It's just gonna make me feel bad about myself, which is not good for my mental health. Mental health is just as important as physical health. And if we're ignoring what's up here and just trying to be a robot and just eat this and not eat that, it's not gonna work, because we're humans, we're not robots. So I like to forgive, forget, move on. Tomorrow is another day. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be black and white. Take the mistakes of yesterday and move on with your life. Number 7, I do not restrict gluten. I eat all the gluten. I love gluten. The more gluten, the better. I do not like those gluten-free pizzas. I shall never eat a gluten-free pizza again, because
I'm sorry. Those who have celiac disease, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for you, because
the gluten-free options are terrible. I empathize with you. I feel you on that. But I think we somehow came up with this misconception that gluten-free means healthy. And there was that whole Kardashian episode where they didn't know what gluten was. But yes, I in fact know what gluten is. And I can tell you, gluten is actually a protein found in wheat. And it is not inherently bad for us unless you have celiac disease. Of course, you need to avoid it because it can do some real damage to your small intestine. And the only treatment for celiac disease is a strict gluten-free diet, because even if they were to come into small contact of gluten, like on a cutting board, maybe crumbs on a cutting board, or their food got cross-contaminated with gluten, their small intestine can be terribly damaged to the point where nutrients won't be able to be absorbed properly. For the rest of us,
no, we do not need to be avoiding it.
Unless you have like some very specific cases. Like I've seen clients who have like unexplained eczema, and we will try eliminating dairy first, and then we'll try eliminating gluten and seeing what helps. I also know some people, they just don't do very well with gluten, like their stomach hurts. But other than that, we do not need to avoid gluten to be healthy. I'm not a violent person. I usually do not wish death upon things, but I do wish that myth would die, because it's making my life a lot harder trying to explain why gluten is not terrible for us. But anyways, number 8, I do not try to fit into clothes that I no longer fit into. Our weight naturally fluctuates throughout the years. Our body constantly changes. And honestly, it's a traumatic situation what we've gone through with this pandemic. And a lot of us have gained weight because of it, because we were sitting at home a lot during lockdown, eating a lot, exercising less, and naturally you're gonna gain weight when things like that happen. But it's important, obviously, to be healthy and to exercise and eat well. But sometimes I think we're just a little bit too hard on ourselves and a little bit too tough on ourselves, and that might cause more harm than good. And instead of fighting into trying to fit into clothes that no longer fit me if I gained a few pounds, I will find clothes that fit me now and fit me right, because I want to feel good in my clothes. If you're actively trying to get healthier, but then you're beating yourself up because you don't fit into these certain clothes, that is so stressful and unnecessary and just terrible for your mental health. Long term, you're just gonna have negative self-talk in your head, and that's gonna be harder to combat, and you're gonna need some therapy. I think it's important to dress in a way that feels good to you and feels comfortable for yourself. Number 9, I don't force other people around me to eat a certain way or judge their body or judge their food choices. Unless they specifically ask for my advice on something, or they're my client and they're coming to me for help, I am not judging anything people are eating or how they look or anything like that. Unless you're my client and I'm seeing you and assessing you, I don't have all the facts about you. We have to understand that. Like, a lot of times we judge people without all the facts. We judge what they're eating but have no idea what they ate earlier that day. We have no idea what they ate yesterday. We have no idea how they're gonna eat later. We have no idea about their medical history or their dietary history or anything about them. There's so little that we actually know from just a plate of food that someone may be eating, or just the way that somebody's body looks. Then just because somebody else tells you something doesn't mean that you're gonna follow that. It doesn't mean that you're gonna listen to them. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be motivated. And number 10, I don't participate in nutrition-related debates or arguments or really discussions at all outside of work or outside of YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. Like, I'm all the social medias, and that's where I'll talk about it endlessly. But other than that, I don't really like to talk about it to people in my real life, to friends, to family. I need to leave it somewhere. Like, I can't have it follow me everywhere. It's like my job, it's my passion, but there's so many more important things in life. While nutrition is part of my life, it's not my entire life. I have a life outside of nutrition, believe it or not. I enjoy scary movies. I enjoy reading books. I enjoy decorating. I enjoy rearranging the furniture in my apartment like every month. I enjoy rock climbing. So if you've watched up to this point, please type sunflower in the comments so I know who actually watched up to this point. And that shall be all for this video. And if you are still watching, I'm gonna change the code word to roses. So confuse everyone else and type roses in the comments so I can see who really stayed until the end. You know what I mean? But that is all, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if it was helpful. And if you're still here, the code word has now changed to lilac. The real code word is lilac. Let me know in the comments. This is gonna be a very interesting comment section that I'm excited to read. By the way, you can watch this video next on why I went vegan if you're curious. Bye. It's lilac. It's lilac.